The platform drifted downward into silence. Not mechanical silence, but a sensory vacuum. Even Emma's breathing felt muffled, like sound itself was being devoured by the dark. They passed through a spherical field of pale blue mist. Instruments on Emma's belt flickered briefly and died. Comms went dark, even the hollow recorders shut off. Only the vault's internal lights guided them now, flaring on in measured intervals as they descended deeper. After nearly a full minute, the platform slowed and came to rest at the threshold of a vast circular chamber. Jace stepped forward instinctively. Emma followed, boots echoing faintly on the obsidian floor. The chamber was impossibly old. Great columns ringed the outer edge, rising into darkness. Faint bioluminescent filaments pulsed in the air, slow spirals of light like drifting plankton in an ocean. The walls were smooth and seamless, but the air was thick with latent static and gravity fluctuations that made every step feel uncertain. At the far end stood a structure. A monolith, taller than any they'd encountered. 12 meters of matte black stone, edged with fractal etchings that seemed to move when unobserved. Unlike the monoliths studied elsewhere, this one was partially open. A narrow seam ran vertically down the center, revealing layered internal components, glowing lattices of neural crystal suspended in magnetic containment.
This isn't a memory vault. This is a living system.
Jace circled slowly, eyes wide. He reached out but stopped just short of touching it. The hum intensified again, a low vibration radiated from the monolith into the floor beneath them, syncing with their heartbeats. Then, across the curved ceiling, a field of glyphs came to life, dozens of alien scripts, and one, translated automatically by the implant in Emma's skull, resolved into a Terran-compatible phrase. Observer class entry verified, Prime Archive link initiated. A pulse swept through the room, and then it began. The lights dimmed. The walls of the chamber rippled, and the floor beneath their feet became translucent, revealing another world below. A simulation or memory space, hundreds of meters deep, projected in perfect resolution. Below them, they saw a city. Not Thalassa as it was, Thalassa as it had once been. A luminous metropolis sprawled out in fractal geometry, interwoven towers, spiral roads, gardens of bioluminescent flora, and ships that hovered silently above crystalline launch pads. Tall figures moved with purpose through the streets, slender, robed, augmented beings with elongated limbs and luminous skin. The architects. Jace stood frozen.
It's them, the ones who built it all.
Emma's voice was tight.
The first civilization. We're looking into their lives, their city.
The vision shifted. It sped forward, showing events compressed through time. The architects working at massive interfaces, generating wormhole projections, building consciousness archives. Then panic, alarm, a flare of energy from deep space, systems failing, evacuation protocols triggered. A single figure remained in the final image, a tall being, partially embedded in the monolith, encased in a cocoon of data lattice and liquid crystal. Its eyes were open but dim. Caretaker node activated, the chamber whispered. System integrity compromised, awaiting synchronization, genetic resonance required. Jace stepped toward the monolith, the glyphs aligned with his movements. The hum began to modulate.
What does it want from me?
It's not just memory, Jace. That thing down there, it's alive and it's incomplete. It needs something, you, to reboot or finish whatever the architects left undone.
Another voice filled the chamber, not mechanical this time. Gentle, a whisper within his mind. Child of deviation. Link accepted. Begin integration sequence. Jace turned pale.
It's talking to me, inside my head.
Do you want to say yes?
The room seemed to pause. No light, no sound, just the weight of the question. Jace nodded slowly.
Yes?
The monolith's seam widened. Light spilled forth, bathing him in pulses of memory and language, and the floor beneath them vanished. Not physically, but perception was overwritten. They stood now in a sea of stars, surrounded by translucent data streams, as the consciousness of the Prime Archive began to interface with Jace. Thousands of years of history, war, expansion, collapse, preservation, the vaults, the monoliths, the pulse. It wasn't a weapon, it was a signal. a lifeboat beacon for a dying civilization, and now, for the first time in millennia, it had found someone to listen. Emma's voice was a whisper beside him.
We just opened the door to the past, and maybe the future, too.